What's up, everybody? I'm Rob Flax. I play things with strings, I hit stuff, and I sing. And today I want to talk to you about the piece of gear that has been saving my bacon for the last couple months here in quarantine. I've only gone live a couple of times. I haven't done a lot of streaming, and I, like many other people, have been experimenting with what's the best way to capture high quality audio and video. Now, I have a ton of gear, just a ludicrous amount of pedals, instruments, microphones, preamps, digital audio workstation stuff, different cameras, and none of it's really been working. I have just tried so many different things, and there has only been one piece of gear I've used that just consistently gets the job done. And in fact, you're listening to it right now. I am running the audio that you're hearing and the video. All of this is happening through my phone. But I'm not just using the built-in microphone, I'm using fancier audio, and the way I'm getting the nice high-fidelity audio that I'm recording here is using the Xtone Pro by XSonic. So I'm going to pull my phone out of the little tripod here so I can show you my setup. Dun, 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 dun. Xtone Pro, it's really so nice. Thank you, guys. This is the Smart Stomp. Now, this thing is kind of beefy. It's like a mini pedal board all in itself. It has 6 buttons, and I literally never use them so far. I know there's a lot of potential for me to use these, but I haven't yet. Here's what's going on. You can see that on the side here I have 2 inputs. Those are mismatched because I ran out of cables. Those are coming from this rat's nest of cables down below. So here, that's a lot of stuff. Let me talk you through my one rig to rule them all, what it's doing so far, and why this is such an integral part of what I'm doing. First and foremost, so many cables. I've got a mixer here. This is the Keith McMillan K-Mix, and I have plugged into it a bunch of different instruments. All of those can send to this pedal board. And then it goes back into the mixer. Then it actually sends to this second pedal board. And then that goes back into the mixer. So, really complicated stuff, but the eventual output of that mixer is a stereo left and right. It's not elegant. It's a rat's nest of cables. I'm still working on refining that. But that's another time. In the meantime, it all goes out into this box, the GFI system, CabZeus. Now, CabZeus has 2 outputs in the back. Those are XLR microphone cable outputs. 2 inputs, and then these throughs. And those through jacks are going up to the Xtone Pro. And that is plugged into this phone. For this clip, I unplugged the audio just so you could hear what a difference that makes to have all of this stuff going through this first. My voice is now just being heard by the phone microphone instead of this Neumann TLM-102, which was being run through this other dedicated True Systems P-Solo mic pre. I know, I have cables everywhere. I'm so sorry. It's really messy. I'm sorry. Anyway, this little adapter piece plugs into the phone. Lightning cable, camera connector kit. This actually came with this. They shipped it with this adapter, which was very nice of them. Plus requisite cable. Oh, no way. Oh, the holy grail of extra dongles. Look at that. Look at this. They included this dongle. This is the Apple camera kit, presumably a knockoff because it's got blue in there. That's it's not the usual color, but that's okay. Look at that. That's very impressive. Wow. Okay, I'm very excited about this. This is great. So that then plugs into here. It's got a USB interface. So what it does is it takes the incoming signal, and this is a right input, left input. This one could be a microphone. You could actually use this condenser mic and use phantom power just right in there, but it has 2 inputs, and then that gets fed into the iPhone. So let me just plug that in right now. This whole complicated mess gets complicated really quickly. I've had to solve all of the problems that happen when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pedals plugged in from a mixer and then back, and then to another 4 pedals and then back. All of that is actually something I've been working on for a while now. That part made sense. The cab Zeus is really useful because those microphone line outputs there in the back, DI outputs, go into my mic preamps and then go into my computer. That's really handy. So why do I need this, you ask? Well, it's running those outputs to record at the same time as this is capturing the throughs going straight to the phone. So for example, if I want to do a live stream, this thing will get it directly into my phone immediately, and it just works. I can't stress this enough. It just works. I plugged it in, sound got into the phone, the end. I haven't used the software. I haven't looked in the menus. I haven't used the features that it's supposed to have. I did have to do 2 things that were pretty straightforward, and I'll show you what those are. Really, the only thing I need this to do is get the sound into my iPhone, and I'm using this to change the volume level that I'm monitoring at. This only changes the monitoring of what I'm hearing in these headphones. It doesn't change what's being recorded. That's what the gain knob does. So if you're not hearing things loud enough, you could monitor with this and have a better listening experience. And if you want to change the overall gain structure, you can use this. Oh, this is up just a little tiny bit, actually. It's not at 0. Right? I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. Okay. So it's doing stuff. The most important thing, though, is if you don't have this monitor mode enabled, it won't monitor. So the way to do that is to press and hold this button. Ta-da! Now I can't hear what I'm saying, but I'm sure it's still recording because that's just monitoring. Press it again. Poof! It's done. Now, if you press and hold this button, it will turn on phantom power to this input. I'm not going to do that now because I don't have a microphone plugged in that needs phantom power. But if I wanted to bypass all of this stuff and just have a condenser mic, you could do that, and then you have to know, press and hold button labeled F, and it turns that on. Now that's not particularly obvious that you have to press and hold button F to get phantom power enabled, but it is in this manual somewhere. I just happen to be friends with one of the people who makes the product, and so I messaged him. That was faster, but it's there. Now, inside this manual is all the recommended things for what you might actually want to use the product for. Its designed and intended purpose is to use as a MIDI controller for apps like Bias Effects or GarageBand or other audio processing apps that you can use on your iPhone or iPad. Right? So once you get the audio in, all of those extra foot switches are actually MIDI assignable. So you could have an app running that's doing things to your audio and turn things on and off. This thing is a MIDI controller as well as an interface, and that's pretty cool. So I have some future ideas for how I might want to use this. One way I might want to use it is with my iPad. I use this as an instrument quite a bit. Specifically, I really like the app Korg Gadget. Da, 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 da. It's got great sounds. Check this out. But it also has a bunch of other musical instruments, and I love using a MIDI controller with it because I can control the parameters in real time with my hands, and it turns it from like a little sort of dinky touchscreen app into something I can really play like a keyboard or stomp on like a stomp box. There are looper apps, and so someday in the future, when we're allowed to travel again, I might be able to do an entire solo looping set with just my iPad and the Xtone Pro. Plug it into the looper app, assign the foot switches to control start and stop of looping, turn on and off effects. You can control multiple apps at once. It should be a really versatile, robust thing, right? So that's really cool, and that's kind of what it's designed for. I just haven't used it that way because I have a jillion pedals already and I haven't needed that. So why should you buy this is maybe the next question. So where this is a really secret weapon is just plug and play for going live. For anything you want to record live. Now, I've been experimenting like many other people with softwares like OBS, which is Open Broadcasting. Whee, look at that. And I have set up a bunch of different settings for multiple scenes that use a variety of different things. One of the devices I've been using is this DSLR. I've plugged it into an adapter, into an HDMI cable, all the way into the back of my computer, into 2 other adapters, so that I can finally get the video in here. Now let me show you a video clip that I shot earlier. This was a multicam project, right? I was trying to create a video for a patron of mine on Patreon. And you'll notice that there's no audio. That's because I forgot to actually capture audio. Notice also the difference in quality here. This is recorded with the DSLR. This is the FaceTime camera built into this laptop. This camera here is pedal cam, and that was this iPhone. Actually, it wasn't this iPhone. It was another old iPhone that my mom wasn't using anymore and she sent me. But it's an identical iPhone, right? Look at the quality difference. Without any editing, the fancy DSLR is out of focus. The color balance is off. It's a little grainy. Kind of looks whack. The pedals are sharp and clear. The FaceTime camera is pretty good and the color looks all right, right? So if I'm going to be doing live stream, this was captured using OBS. I had the thought that maybe, finally, I would be able to use OBS to just shoot demos in real time and not have to edit them. How appealing would that be? The problem is what you just saw. The quality multi-camera setup was mismatched and it didn't save me any time. If I'm going to shoot videos and demos, I have to decide, do I want to use my fancy DSLR camera? And if so, I need to do all the things that you have to do to maximize the value of that camera. Using it as a live stream camera source doesn't seem to work that well, which is a frustrating realization that I've come to, given that I've spent hundreds of dollars on adapters to just get the footage from this fancy camera into my computer, and my phone just looks better right out of the gate. So, phone is really effective for that. DSLR looks fancy, but ends up having a lot more setup and a lot more challenging issues. If you're a musician, you want 2 inputs, say a stereo out from a mixer, which is what I'm doing, or just a guitar and a vocal mic, a condenser mic. This is a really good way to just get audio organized and input into your device right away. So, I hope you'll check out the Xtone Pro. XSonic folks have been really kind to me. They just sent me this. There's never been any quid pro quo in terms of we, want you to say positive things about it. So, I got to give them a big thumbs up and say, I like the stuff they're doing. The build quality on it feels really good. I'm sure this will last for years. The only con that I have so far is that it's stereo in and out, but sometimes when I'm listening back to the audio of, for example, this microphone and then the pedal board, when I'm listening back to a previous live stream, it might have those hard panned, one in one headphone and one in the other. If you're listening on speakers, kind of doesn't matter. It blends together nicely. Maybe that's even better. But if I'm listening to a performance and I've got only the loops on one side and only the mic on the other side, that's not necessarily the stereo image I had envisioned. I'll take it because it's all of the sounds and they're all getting out into the world. That's great. But, I didn't actually think it was supposed to do that, and I have to maybe go in and mess with this, right? So it's going to behave differently depending on what app you're using. Right now I'm filming this with just the iPhone's stock photo, video, camera thing, right? And so whatever you're hearing is how Xtone Pro interprets and sends stuff to camera, and camera receives that and goes, okay, this is the audio that I should use. Again, I didn't change anything or menu dive or change any settings. It's literally exactly just plug and play. Get the levels about right. The gain knob is ever so slightly above 0. The volume for the monitoring is loud enough that I can hear it, and I know if I'm too close to the mic or too far away. But otherwise, I've done nothing. It just works. It just works. And that's a real refresher.